I get people texting me about my hair, but I don't think there's anything wrong with my hair. I'm trying to keep the length kind of short, kind of medium-ish length like this. Do like a more messy fringe kind of, because I don't want to go back to a full buzz cut, but I also don't want to grow my hair all the way back out again. You guys don't care about that. I don't even know why I just said that. Welcome back to episode 4 of Sit and Reflect. If you're not familiar with the format of Sit and Reflect, we have a topic or we have a question and we explore it. We explore that topic, we explore that question for an extended period of time, try and develop other understandings and other perspectives with the sole focus of using your brain, encouraging intellectual thinking in a world where we're surrounded by dumbasses. If you're watching this in the video form on Spotify or YouTube, hello. Hope you enjoy the view. If you're listening to this on audio on Apple Podcasts, then unfortunately you're not able to see my beautiful face. I am a bit under the weather. Allergies have really been getting to me. So if at any point you hear maybe a sniffle or two or me trying to clear my throat like right now, that's why. But today's question is a question that I battle with a lot personally. Not that I don't have a lot of personal reflections with the other questions I've asked, but this one specifically is very interesting. And the idea is, when do we stop helping someone? And this one is especially dear to my heart because I felt like for the longest time that I can save people from their ignorance, save people and help them develop better senses of understanding. Also, I think it's episode 3, not episode 4. I actually don't know what episode this is. That's okay. That's not important anymore. But growing up, I played the role as a fixer. Wanted to fix everything. Wanted to fix all the tension in the house. Wanted to fix all the relationships in the family. Wanted to make sure all the friends got along. I wanted to make sure there's equilibrium. Everyone was happy. La la land. 24/7. But 21-year-old version of me now understands that that is not possible. It is not possible to achieve that. And I think one of the angles that I want to explore today is that it's kind of by design, but we can get into that later. But the big thing that I guess we're going to explore, the more general idea, is that at what point does helping turn away from actually helping people? It's now hurting someone, whether it's yourself or another person. Essentially, when does helping have diminishing returns? When should you just call it quits? Because not all quitting is bad. I think one of the reasons why people also want to help apart from maybe that savior complex they were nurtured into is as I mean, it's considered a virtuous thing, right? Helping people. And I guess maybe you can make an argument to a degree that some people seek that responsibility of helping people because it maybe makes them feel whole in a way. And the traits of someone that a person possesses when you're considered a helpful person, right? You're considered a loyal person, right? You're supportive, and You're caring, right? These are great traits, great qualities that I think every person would like to have. Every person would like to say that they possess. So when you're a helpful person, it allows you to envelop those traits. But you also have a case of people that help too much to the point that, like I said earlier, one of the angles we're going to explore is that now they help so much to the point that now they're hurting themselves. If you remember my last episode, we talked about this idea of overextending. That you will spread yourself thin, you will stretch yourself out so far and wide. And at the end of the day, the only people that is getting hurt is you. So this idea of constantly helping can become very draining very quickly. Because whether you're talking about people that you do help and they just constantly fall back to their old ways on purpose, or there's people that you're trying to help and they just constantly reject the help. But you just have this burden, you have this desire to just, no, I refuse to give up on this person. I refuse to let this person call it quits, etc., whatever it is. So as a result, you sit there, you overplan, you come up with this strategy that, oh, I can now approach the help this way, and maybe they'll finally be receptive to it, or maybe if I approach it this way, they'll finally be able to stick and be consistent. In reality, you going through all these hurdles, you go through all these obstacles, it gets to a point where you're wasting your fucking time. You're wasting your time. So before we move further, I think it's important to define some concepts. That way we are working on the same premise as we go throughout this video, throughout this episode, I should say. So we can start by saying that helping, as a definition, is offering time, energy, support, or resources to improve someone's situation. You're trying to be supportive in a manner that allows for the potential betterment of another person. But I think it's also important before we move forward to draw the line between supporting someone and enabling someone, right? So when we're talking about helping someone, you are supporting them to presumed better things. But a lot of people enable behaviors. For example, you got a friend, terrible with money, absolutely terrible with money. You think you're helping them by sending them bread to help them get out of their debts. Then they just go back and spend again, and they're in debt again. Then you pay it off again, saying, yo, don't let this happen again. Yo, no, I promise, I swear. Then they go do it again. It happens a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time. Now, you've enabled the behavior. They will continue to do dumb shit with their money, dumb shit with their finances, because they're banking on the idea that you are going to bail them out again and again. So now, where you thought you were helping, like, oh my God, my friend just needs some funds to get out of debt, you've now enabled his or her behavior to be a jackass, simply put. An example of helping that may be perceived kind of negatively is, let's say you're helping a friend with an addiction. There's a level of accountability that you have to hold that person to. There's a level of sternness, strictness that you have to have with that individual when it comes to helping them break their addictions. And it's gonna require to do things that sometimes that person won't like, and sometimes that might make you feel uneasy. And when you're working through this whole addiction thing with someone, a lot of the times that people are getting clean, they say things that they don't really mean. And they have this amazing ability. My nose is killing me, chat. Oh my God. My nose is killing me, bro. Why is it every time I start the videos is when my allergies want to start fucking up? When you're helping someone with addiction, they'll go through this phase where they'll just be angry. They'll be angry as shit. And they'll say things that they truly don't mean. And you'll be sitting there questioning yourself on that. Why am I doing this? It's not benefiting anybody right now. This person's crashing the fuck out. Withdrawals are so bad to the point that they're being an asshole. I'm sitting and subjugating myself to this verbal abuse, sometimes physical. What's the point? But you are helping them long term. Helping them change their life for the better. There's no instance where getting clean is worse than staying hooked. Right? Like, I think we can agree to that for the most part. At least most of us can. Another tightrope I think we need to learn how to balance is compassion versus self-respect. People help because they feel compassion towards other people. Right? That need, that desire to want to help. Just that seeing another person down, it draws you to them. Hold on, we gotta take a cut. I just got off the camera and sneezed like 10 times, bro. Oh my God. Allergies. My mother's fault. Anyways, compassion versus self-respect. You have this, what feels like an obligation to help someone in times of need. That would be compassion. But let's go back to that enabling example. The friend that's bad with money. As you continue to enable their behavior, their perception on who you are changes. And you move away from someone that they look up to, someone that they probably respect, to now just someone that they see as a convenience. And as a result, subconsciously or even consciously for that person that now looks at you as a convenience, the level of respect for you is now dropped. Pretty substantially as well. And we have to be able to walk that line. We have to be able to have that separation. That helping gets to a point where you should not be sacrificing your dignity, your honor, your integrity just for the sake of doing somebody a solid. A lot of the times when we get stuck into this cycle of enabling behaviors, it stems from a lot of different things. That friend, you care about them deeply. You're emotionally attached to them to a degree. You see them suffering, even if it's from their own actions. but you are in the means to help, you'll feel some sort of guilt to a degree. Or they'll make you feel guilty for not helping. Family does that a lot. Family does that a lot. They'll trick you, they'll guilt you into you doing their bidding. Happens all the time. Fear of abandoning someone is another thing. That, oh, if I just let them stay like this, then I'm essentially leaving them to fend for themselves. Which, you can make the argument that that is exactly what they need to be better. That is exactly what they need in order to develop and grow as an individual. So you can very well make the argument that you leaving them be in the shit that they created is helping them, because now you got to figure it the fuck out the same way you did. I don't know about y'all, but I have no fucking handouts. And when you take in this idea of the emotional attachment, we always see the best in people. We always think that this person that we care about, the friend, the family member, whoever, we begin to love them for their upside. We begin to love them on potential. That, oh, this person will absolutely change one day, and then we can just laugh at times like this. And I used to, for most of my life until very recently, believe that I will do these solids, I'll do these favors, and it'll allow them to understand perspective, allow them to be more grateful, and they'll become a better person. They'll change. No. Some people simply do not have the capacity to change. Some people just don't possess the willpower to change. They would much rather stay where they are, in their cycle, in their bullshit, and just find ways to maneuver around whatever it may be, instead of making the changes that they need to not be in the same situations where they require help. You would think that, damn, I got a lot of money problems. I'm not getting paid enough at work, so it's not helping me to keep up my bills. Maybe I should look for a new job. It's even something as simple as that. No, some people will still stay at that whack-ass job and still expect a handout, right? And they look at you. They look at you as the person that's supposed to do the handing out, right? And I think all of us come to a point during our helping journey where we're in this philanthropic mindset, where sometimes you just wish, damn, I wish my help would be acknowledged. Like, damn, I did so much for you, you just can't even fucking say thank you. Or help you this time, but then you're like, oh, well, you didn't help me here. Or, this is nothing, you should have done this. Should have been a given. Instead of just being like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for your help. So this, you constantly giving, or in Urdu we'll say like, khule haath, right? Like you just openly give. And that person or people will just selfishly take. And not ever pay it forward. Over time, that's going to cause a lot of conflict and resentment. I'm doing all this shit. Not only do you continue to get yourself in the same shit, but you also can't even give me a damn thank you. And then we can also build on that off of what we talked about earlier, but like repeating patterns, right? You help that friend out with their financial problem, they put themselves right back in there. And it happens over and over and over again to the point that now you're just footing the bill. You're enabling the behavior, right? And an angle that I really want to talk about, because I think this is very important, especially for the South Asian community, is emotional dependence. We will send money, we will send resources to the folks back home endlessly, aimlessly, not even thinking about the fact that now they are growing a dependence to whatever we are sending, whatever we're doing for them. And listen, I get it that for a lot of people it's just necessity. Like, they just genuinely cannot make shit shake. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, my family back home has it rough, right? So like, there's of course there's context, there's nuance to that. But I think we can all sit here and say, especially as South Asians, that there are family members of ours that take advantage of us point blank, period. They'll scam us, they'll lie to us, they'll expect things from us. And we will feel as if we are obligated to help them because of all these three different things. The emotional dependence, the repeated patterns, and the enabling of behavior, right? And it's something that I've talked about in therapy, sorry, fairly recently, is that how do you get over this guilt of enabling someone? As in, I've enabled this person, I've enabled these people for years on end. Years on end. How do I not feel guilty? How do I not feel as if I'm a piece of shit for not putting my foot down, maybe drawing a line in the sand, whatever it may be? And honestly, the answer is kind of simple, but it's easier said than done. You cannot save everyone. It gets to a point where you simply cannot allow yourself to take on the burdens and responsibilities of other grown-ass adults. It gets to a point. And when these same people that you have now enabled have not given you anything to work with in terms of them being better, you are by no means obligated to continue that. The guilt that we feel when we're trying to draw this line in the sand comes from the attachment that we have to that person. That we feel that, oh, technically we have the means to help here. But reframing that picture of what it means to help. For example, you constantly keep lending money out, just, again, in Urdu called kholehat, just openly giving, right? How about next time? Okay, yeah, but you gotta pay me back. You gotta pay me back. I need the money back by this time. Or, oh, how about we help you find a new job? Like I can potentially maybe help you a little bit financially, but we need to put things in place for you that will allow you to support yourself better. Let's help you find a job. Let's help you do this, help you do that. And it's been really hard for me to internalize this. It's been really hard for me to truly sit, internalize, and apply this. Because being known as the fixer for so long, that's been my whole job. That's a responsibility that I've been given, not by choice. But I was the one that wanted to fix things. Always. Genuinely, I was the only one in the family that wanted to fix things. Otherwise, everybody else would just sit there grumpy, angry, in their egos, whatever. I was the one that was like, yo, let's come to the table. Let's try to figure this out. But now, 21 years later, I'm burnt out. I'm frustrated. I've built up resentment for people. And I'm like, bro, I can't keep doing this. That's also another thing, right? I think a big thing that has been able to help me now truly apply this understanding of reframing what help is that I'm fed up. I'm burnt the fuck out. I cannot continue to subjugate myself to the bullshit that comes with helping. That it gets to a point where the verbal and emotional abuse that comes with it, that the constant guilt tripping and all these other things that comes with this idea of what I think is helping. I can't keep putting myself through this shit. I'm a person too. I'm a person with emotions. The shit that people say is also very hurtful to me. I can't keep living like this. And having the understanding of, yo, I can't keep living like this, I have slowly been able to now implement this into my life. And it's one thing that we talk about in therapy is that you cannot save everyone, man. You cannot save everyone. There are people in your life right now. The way that you see them now is the way they will always be. It's unfortunate. We sit as children and we see some of these elders and how they act, and we wonder, how the fuck do you act like that at that grown ass age of yours? But the funniest part is that we're growing up, we're becoming adults, and we're seeing these same people that we grew up with now take in the footsteps of those same elders, those same people that we used to criticize. And it's reality. 99% of the people you will meet will simply copy what they've seen. Whether it's how they develop as an individual, their religious beliefs, their political beliefs, their development as a person. 99% of people, even though everyone's influenced, right? 99% of people will take that influence to the full extreme where they genuinely don't have anything going for themselves. There's no character that they built on their own. They're literally just nothing but a physical form of inheritance. So as a result, all these negative tendencies, all these negative habits that as kids we would criticize, like, oh, I'll never do that. I can't believe people act like that. They're not doing the same thing. They are now doing the same damn thing. And they're going to stay that way. They're not going to be able to get out of it. They're not going to be able to change their ways. Not because that they can't, they don't want to. They don't want to. A lot of these people think that the world revolves around them. They do no wrong. They're infallible. They'll package this idea that they have humility to them, whatever. But push comes to shove, their true character gets fucking shown. And it's that no, they're stuck in their ways. They have no intention of changing. They want the world to bend to who they currently are. Unfortunately, that's where most of the tension comes from. That's where most of the tension comes from when it comes to this idea of helping people. You have this person that is compassionate, wants the greater good, wants to see people succeed, versus someone that's fucking selfish. And that clash, that collision, is a canon event for a lot of people, myself included. And that clash with that selfish person, when they're giving you genuinely nothing to work with, genuinely nothing to work with at all, you have to sit there and ask yourself, when is enough enough? Like when have we now transcended the boundaries and now this is going to end horribly? And when those lines are crossed, I think it's important to take people at that face value. Here's another thing that I didn't touch on yet. When you begin to set boundaries with people after they've taken advantage of you, and after you've enabled their behaviors for so long, you finally put your foot down, you'll be labeled as a villain. You'll be labeled as a villain, you'll be antagonized, ostracized, and it will really, really hurt. It will. It really will. Because it comes from people that you would never expect. But the way that I look at it now is that I'm willing to take the shit that comes with being that change. That way my future generations will be able to have that kind of healthy balance, that stability. That I'll have kids one day and I'll say, the reason why you're able to have these certain things, the reason why you're able to live this certain way is because of the shit that I had to put up with. And this could be applied to tangible financial things. This could be applied to emotional stability in the house. You are able to live the life that you have because I put my foot down and said, no, this cannot continue. And as a result, I dealt with a lot of shit. But now you guys won't have to. When you want to break cycles, when you want to break trauma that is passed down from generation to generation, there has to be one person that sits there and says, you know what? I have to take all the shit that comes with breaking what the people around me consider a norm. I have to be okay with being ostracized for challenging those norms. But then at least the future is going to be okay. And that's truly where I've gotten. That I'm okay being ostracized, antagonized by people, if that means that the future generations are going to be able to have a nicer life than me. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And I hope this video wasn't taken away that you should never help people ever. I hope that all of us have critical thinking abilities to understand that I'm talking about people that take advantage of you. But if you're helping someone that also helps you out, you scratch their back, they scratch yours. They take accountability for their actions, and they truly give you progress. Then of course, then I don't think helping that person is bad at all, right? Some misconceptions around the idea of helping people. Helping doesn't always make you a good person. If you are enabling someone's behavior, that makes you a bad person. And that might be a hot take to some people. But you enabling someone's behavior in all cases is bad. for the things that we already touched on. We don't have to go through it again. Another misconception is that when you stop helping someone, this means you don't care anymore. When in reality, stopping someone from what the traditional lens of help is can actually be what's helpful for them in that situation. It allows accountability to be brought to the table. And now it's up to that person on the other end to see what they do with that. Another thing that I was told a lot growing up is that if we don't help, no one else will. So we might as well. And even though that's been true for us, I'm not gonna lie. Applying that idea en masse is very dangerous because of the emotional burden that we'll put upon ourselves. And sorry. I think the biggest challenge that a lot of us first gen kids are dealing with, are trying to work through, is understanding that other people's emotions and tendencies to this degree is not on us to fix. I think that's the big caveat to all of our problems. So I guess we're gonna wrap up now. So, like we've already talked about before, but I'll reiterate, overhelping can enable bad habits. It'll prevent accountability. It'll create emotional dependence. And it will allow for cycles to continue. Not helping at all will damage your relationship in an adverse way, where now you are someone that is no longer dependable. So it's about finding that balance, which I think we've done a good job at touching on today. I think if anything should be taken from this video, it's that damn, starting like a motherfucker. The biggest misunderstanding is boundaries. Mental health and all these things they have, damn, I cannot speak. They have a wide range of resources available to learn. Boundaries is something that is still generally misunderstood across the board. Boundaries isn't being there 24/7. It's, all right, I misspoke. There's always pressure that you have to be around 24/7. Otherwise, you're not a good person. When in reality, you setting up boundaries, things you are willing to do and not do in given circumstances, is the long-term betterment for both you and the other person. They won't see it that way, but over time, they will, hopefully. And if not, it's okay. At least you're setting that example for the next generation. Maybe holy fuck, I cannot talk. Maybe when we went throughout this episode, you might have thought of a couple people, couple situations. Maybe you want to ask yourself, in those situations, am I truly doing what I'm saying that I want to do by helping someone, or am I just enabling their behavior? Do they actually give me anything to work off of to show that they're trying to improve their life? Or am I being used? Is this help overexerting me to the point that there's diminishing returns? There's some lessons and insights to take from this. I'm looking at my notes right now, I'm sorry. You can care for someone without carrying them. You can lead someone to the finish line. That doesn't mean you always have to put them on your back to help them get there. I think that's important. Boundaries protects both people, like I already mentioned. And the help that you give out and the effort that it takes to help should be reciprocated in some way, shape, or form. So the question isn't necessarily when do I stop helping? It's more, is my help actually doing what it's set out to do? There's a saying that I saw somewhere that I think really, really kind of just ties everything together. And it was that you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep someone warm. You don't have to continue to overexert yourself. You don't have to continue to subjugate yourself to, in a lot of cases, just abuse. For the sake of keeping someone else afloat. It gets to a point where you need to put your foot down, take some control over your life, have some self-respect for yourself, and say that, you know what, this isn't working. We need to change course. And you're not a bad person for doing that. But also, again, understand that when you are trying to be that change that your bloodline has never seen before, get ready to take the shit that comes with it. With all that being said, I think that wraps up this episode. I hope it was of benefit to anyone that watches. It was a very high request for me to create a podcast, and I've made it and no one fucking watches the videos. So what are we doing, chat? But I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. If you have any suggestions or if you have any topics maybe you want to hear about, my DMs are always open. But reach out. But until then, I'll see y'all around.